Dana El Nasser tells Teen Magazine about the worst day of her life and her biggest regret. Last month, my friend Layla El Fayed invited me to go to the park for a picnic with her family. I was really looking forward to it. I always have fun when I'm with Layla, and it's always nice to get away from my own family for a change. Unfortunately, my little brother Faisal heard about the picnic and said he wanted to come too. He's only 9 and he's a bit silly sometimes. For example, he likes pulling Layla's long hair, and he usually tries to make Layla and me play football with him. It can be quite annoying for us when we just want to chat and listen to music. So, when he asked me to take him on the picnic with Layla, of course I said no, and then I didn't think about it again. On the day of the picnic, I got up early and got my things ready. I had made 2 big cakes to take with me, and I'd bought fruit and some bottles of lemonade. Layla and her family had agreed to pick me up at my house at 10 o'clock. At 9:30, Faisal came into the sitting room with his sports bag. "I'm ready to go," he said. "When's Layla going to be here?" Was so angry I didn't answer him, and he went to look for Mum. A few minutes later, my mother came into the sitting room with him. "Why can't Faisal go with you?" she asked. "He'll be good this time," I said. "Sorry, Mum, I can't take him. Layla and her family don't have room in the car." I didn't know if this was true, but it stopped Faisal and my mother arguing with me. At 10 o'clock, I heard the El Fayed's car and ran outside to meet them. My mother and Faisal never saw that the El Fayeds were taking 2 cars to the park, and there was plenty of space in both of them that day. It was fun at the park to start with. Everyone loved my cakes. Layla and talked for ages about our plans for the future. We played on the swings and ran about, and we played cards. The weather was perfect, not too hot and with a nice breeze. Suddenly, at 2 o'clock, everything changed. I got a phone call on my mobile. It was my mother. She told me that Faisal was in hospital. After I'd left the house, he had gone out on his bike without telling her. A car had hit him. He was unconscious and he had a broken wrist. My mother was crying. The El Fayeds drove me straight to the hospital. My parents were there already. Faisal was still unconscious and he looked very white. There was some blood on his forehead and a big cut on his cheek. The doctor told me that my brother was going to be okay, but I felt terrible. My first words to my mum were, "I wish I'd taken him to the park. I wish I hadn't been so selfish. If only I had listened to you, Mum." Faisal was unconscious for 3 days. We were all sick with worry for those 3 days, but in the end everything was okay. On the 4th day, he woke up and asked for ice, cream, sweets and lemonade. Everyone laughed and the doctors said he could come home. Layla came to see him a few days later at home. Although his broken wrist was in a plaster cast, he still managed to pull her hair.